So last time we tried to organize the different items and objects based on layers and assign unique colors to the layers so that Lumion will recognize these unique colors as separate materials. So that is the case for the previous versions of Lumion and Rhino when Livesync was not available. So after Livesync was made available recently, in order to sync Rhino with Lumion, we will now need to assign unique materials now within Rhino. However, the look of the material within Rhino is not as important because you will have the option to reassign materials in Lumion. But the name of the material will be important because if you use the same name, it'll be considered the same material within Lumion. So let's just check out how we assign material within Rhino. So let's click on this circle right here within the layer menu under material. If we click on that and then click on this down arrow, click on use a new material, and then import from material library, you see that there's a miscellaneous folder. Click on this miscellaneous folder, and then there's a water texture with rippling pattern and then a water material. So let's just click on this water material and say open. And then all these settings can later be adjusted in Lumion, and actually it's a lot easier and more streamlined in Lumion. I would not suggest that you go through all these different settings within Rhino. Typically this is done with other plugins like V-Ray or Maxwell. Even though Rhino 6 had improved its rendering capability, it's still a lot more complicated and slower compared to doing it in Lumion. So I would not waste your time right now to configure all this. So just say okay for now. So then if you can keep doing this, let's just say the next one is decompose granite. You could again click on that circle under material, down arrow, use a new material, and then go to import from material library to find kind of a decomposed granite look. We might want to go to organic, where you can find mulch, and then maybe choose something that looks kind of like a decomposed granite. And then just say okay. And then plants or lawn, let's just say lawn. We just saw a grass somewhere. Click on use a new material, import from material library, go to organic, and pick the grass. You can just pick whichever grass you would like to pick. So right now all these settings are not important because they can all be readjusted in Lumion. So if you guys can kind of go through all this and assign materials, it will be really helpful. And then the next thing we need to do is to move the model to be closer to the origin point. That's really important for linking up with Lumion, because otherwise, Lumion always gives you the view closer to the origin and you'll have a hard time finding your model. So let's just draw a window, do a window select, and then type in M. Hit the space bar, grab any corner using the M.0 snap, and then move to, we can simply just type in 0, 0, 0 as the origin point and hit enter, space bar, or right click. That way you can see how the model now is moved to be snapped to the origin point. So the next thing we want to do is to set an eye level view. In Lumion you can do that, but it's not as precise. It's not as easy to really control where the camera is and where the target is. So in Rhino, let's just draw a reference object using the solid tool here. We can grab this cylinder here, and then just kind of snap to an endpoint along this path or wherever your viewer will be standing. And then let's just see here. I want to snap it to this endpoint. And then the diameter of the cylinder is not that important. Let's hit the space bar. It's the height that's important. So the height, I want to set it at 5.3 feet because that's the default in Lumion. So if you don't have 5.3, you will need to go to the command line to type it in. If it's good, then you just hit enter, space bar, or right click. Now we're ready to set the cameras. So let's just right click on the perspective tab, and down here we want to navigate to set camera, and then we want to find place camera and target. Now the command line is prompting us for setting the new camera location, and what we want is the center of the top of the cylinder. And then the new target location can just anywhere out. We can either center that on this vertical structure or slightly off. So now you can see we just set a perspective view that is at eye level, which is about 5.3 feet according to Lumion. So now we want to make sure that we don't lose this view, because whenever we move around with orbit or pan, we're gonna lose this view, and we cannot undo by doing Control Z. So what we want to do is to right click on this tab and then set this view as a name view. So we want to basically give it a name, and by clicking on this file icon here, we might want to just say it's eye level and then say okay. So that way, say if I'm panning and then I'm typing in Control Z, it doesn't really let me go back. But it's okay. I can just double click on this name view that I just saved to go back to this view. So when we do the live sync, we'll be able to make sure that what shows up in Lumion is exactly what shows up in Rhino, and that way you know exactly where the camera is located and where the target is. So we can do this for another view, for above eye level view. So basically we can just kind of orbit a little bit to get more of a helicopter view coming from above and down. Okay, so that looks good, and then we can just right click again and basically name another view, click on the save button, and just make it above eye level and say okay. So you can, I just kind of want you guys to be able to be sensitized to what is truly eye level, what is kind of a helicopter view. So you can see that's eye level, that's helicopter view, or if it's more extreme, further up in the air, then it's more of a bird's eye view. All right, so I will see you guys in another video.